There was 24, now there are just 4 remaining. Welcome to the semi-final preview of England against the Netherlands for Euro 2024, where the Scotsman gives his unwanted opinion on the England team, as well as the Netherlands. But first, we're going to switch over to the Englishman. Gonzo, you made it to the semis. What did you make of your victory over the Swiss?
I always make it to the semi, my friend. Always make it at least that far. What did I make of the victory over the Swiss? It was... I've seen many people talking about an improved England performance. And I wondered, maybe my telly's just slightly different, or I was watching a slightly different... but it's not even a stream, is it? I was actually watching it, on the proper telly as well. So I thought England were poor, and as they have been for the large majority of it, I was frustrated. I found it reactive. It was brilliant at one point when the commentators turned around and said, Gareth Southgate's asked the substitutes are warming up, and Gareth Southgate's asked his substitutes to sit down again. It appears the substitution's not happening. Oh, this is familiar. We know all about this at West Ham, of course. It was absolutely crazy. Just when you think there can't be any more comparisons between Southgate and Moyes, more arrive. I thought his tactical switch didn't particularly work. Eventually, he got there, and you had to think that actually, much as I remember saying this with David Moyes, there's another comparison. We might not like his tactics, but sometimes they do work, and I actually think that they did work on this occasion. I really do think that Southgate played for penalties by the end of it. Would he have liked to have got a goal early? Yes, but when it didn't happen and England went behind, there was no panic from Southgate. He was just there. Okay, fine. I'll make the late substitutions. We'll get the equaliser, and we'll go to extra time. If we don't win it, we'll win it on penalties. And you know what? That's what England did. And fair play. I would struggle to finish off my appraisal then by saying impressive, because it wasn't. And I think if those are your tactics, you're taking a hell of a risk. But England got through. Which, and again, I will have to say this, which is the most important thing. I think I certainly caught a little bit of Euro fever, if you want. And I don't mean I had a snotty nose. I was actually starting to get excited about it. And certainly when Saka scored his goal, was absolutely the most animated I've been at any point during the championships. It felt, for the first time, it felt like I was watching a proper football match that I cared about during these Euros. It's the first time I jumped up and celebrated a goal. I mean, my son did. I don't know what we did. We tried. I mean, he went for the high five. Because he's my son, he's 15. I sort of went for the fist bump. It was sort of half fist bump, half high five, half cuddle. We both missed, and it was the most ridiculous celebration. We both ended up jumping around the lounge, basically. So, but it was the first time I cared, so. The words are sticking in the back of my throat. I'm going to try and say them. So well done, Gareth Southgate.
I think you were a bit better than your previous games. However, the bar was set pretty low by the previous fixtures leading up to the Switzerland one. So it was almost difficult to not improve. But I thought there was an improvement there. I don't think you were as good as the pundits were making on. They've drastically changed their tune over the last game. Now you're in the semi-final. It's almost like they've gone, oh, hang on, semi-final. Oh, we could actually win this. I forget everything we've just said. One pundit in particular, I won't name him, but his first name's Rio. Last week was talking about benching Saka, and this week saying he's the most important player in England. Hang on a minute, you've literally one goal, and you've gone from that to that. And I just found I was a bit blown away by how quickly and how drastically their opinion had changed from previously. They were battering all the players and the manager. And I put onto the obviously you played on the BBC One. I switched over to ITV for the Netherlands game, but they were still talking about England. And Gary Neville's there going, well, this is Southgate. It's what he does. He wins. I'm like, hang on a minute. All tournament. He's been winning all tournament. He's been doing that.
Yeah.
But you've been complaining about him. And it's almost like the first part of the tournament is all the performances aren't good enough. It's not just about winning. You've got to have good football. Now it's just about winning. Performances don't matter. No, it's always been about just winning. I've always maintained tournament football, it's about getting the result. And if you win it, nobody's going to care how you played. in the 3 group stage games. Nobody is going to care. If you win that European Championship, and you've got a bloody good chance now, and if you win it, nobody will give a jot about how you played in the last 16 of the Euro Championships. Nobody will care. I just find the alteration of the opinion of the pundits incredible. Actually, it's almost like they've had a telling off from somebody and they've come out and been overly positive. And I just think this is when you criticize them, as long as your honest opinion, it's fair. But now you're this positive, I don't believe it's your honest opinion anymore. To go from that bad to this good, not having that. I thought there was an improvement from England. I think it was a very fair game between yourself and Switzerland. I think they maybe had the edge in 90 minutes, personally. I think they had the more chances. They weren't out and out clear cut ones, but they had a few more opportunities than what England did. But as soon as it was going to penalties, I knew England were winning. I was looking at that team during extra time, and I know Kane came off, but prior to Kane going off, I was like, right, you got Kane, penalty taker, Saka, penalty taker, Declan Rice was a penalty taker at West Ham, Cole Palmer, one of the best in the league, and I thought this England team are full of penalty takers now. Then when Kane had to come off, he brought on Ivan Toney, just as good at pens as Harry Kane. I thought, wow, okay. England now are stepping up to penalty shootouts with minimum five regular penalty takers in the ranks, and those on sudden death. So Declan Rice didn't take one. Well, you bet your money on him scoring one. Phil Foden, a lot of criticism for him for going off because he doesn't want to take a penalty. I don't think it's a bad thing that one of your players says to your manager, I'm not comfortable taking a pen. I think that, in a weird way, shows a little bit of leadership about you. If you're willing to speak up and say, can I come off and bring someone on that will take one because I don't fancy it. It's better to him to do that than say nothing and end up taking one.
Oh, can you imagine the opposite? Yeah, and then everyone would have said, why didn't you say something?
Yeah, so I actually think credit to Foden for not being that sort of selfish to want to play the remainder of extra time. It's a team game. It's a team game. You know, Mbappe has been making a go of it as well, and it feels like a bit of a dig at Cristiano Ronaldo, saying I don't mind coming off, I'm the captain, I do what's best for the team, as long as the team go through, that's all that matters. Definitely a dig at Cristiano Ronaldo, but I think Foden did the same thing as well. So listen, I don't want to take a pen, so get me off the pitch and put someone on that does want to take one. And it worked. Trent scored a fantastic pen. Anyway, semi-finals, you go. A little bit of a dilemma for Southgate. I don't want to know what you think Southgate will do. I want to know what you would do. Obviously, switch for back three. It worked, but Mark Gay's back from suspension now. Yeah. However, I thought Konsa had a really good game. So there's a little bit of a dilemma for Southgate. But what would you like to see happen? Would you switch back to a back four, or would you retain a back three? And regardless of which one you do, what would your personnel look like?
Yeah, I'd switch back to a back four. I'd play a 4-4-1-1 for this one because Luke Shaw is going to enable me. Well, we're talking about me, not Gareth Southgate, so I say me. Is going to enable me to switch my team back to that and sort out what's been, again, a very West Ham based issue, which is the left-hand side not functioning properly. With England, I think Shaw will rectify that. But there's been too many square pegs in round holes throughout for this. I'm gonna play a team of players. You know, I think with right. Just particularly fullbacks, right footer on the right side, left footer on the left side, and then basically some wingers that can go past and dribble past players, and for that's going to mean no role for Phil Foden in my team. I'm sorry to say for him, I'm going to drop him. So I will start with Pickford in goal, who a bit of some heroics from him, bit of a charmed life as well. Obviously, they hit the post bar, whatever it was. It might have been the corner. It technically might have been both of them, but I like Pickford. I like him. He tells people off, and I like that. I quite like a goalkeeper screaming at his defenders. We were being overrun at one point. I sort of like that. So, but nonetheless, I would put Walker at right back, and just for all his pace and all his experience. I think he started the tournament well. I thought he was pivotal in the first 2 goals that England scored in this tournament. I'm going to put... I thought Stones had some good interventions, actually, during that game. However, I still feel like with John Stones, we've got a Ferrari and we're driving him to the co-op. We've got a Ferrari and we're driving it at 30 mile an hour to the co-op to pick up some milk. John Stones is a skilled player who can really come out and make extra number at the back. So I still think he's a complete waste, actually. I think you could possibly even play Gahey and Konsa there, and you wouldn't have much difference because you're just not using the attributes that Stones does. I'm going to bring Gahey back in because I just think he deserves it. He said whatever, 4 good games, and Konsa had 1, but well done to him. Shaw comes back, which is no surprise. I already said it. The balance on there is really, really key. Every time, I think possibly Alan Shearer was doing the commentary on the one that I watched, and he kept on saying about Trippier. His phrase, not mine, coming inside, okay, and but what he means is
it's usually Kyle Walker that's doing that.
It certainly is. He means turning back on himself and obviously playing with his because he's reluctant to use his weaker left foot, and it just kills. It kills all momentum. It's been happening all bloody the whole tournament, by the way. That's that you talk about pundits, you're almost forgiving and forgetting. That shouldn't be. That is not been great, but it's now time for Shaw to go in. You've done it. He's been wrapped in a cotton wool. He's been mollycoddles. He's had his medicine. Let's get him out there now. I would play a central midfield pairing of Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. So I'm dropping Mainu for this one as well. I'm doing this for I definitely am.
I'm just disagreeing, but carry on. I'll give my reasonings in a minute. You carry on.
So I mean, I thought Bellingham. It's fashionable to dislike him now, isn't it? I think he's a tremendous player. I still think he's a tremendous player. I know there were people saying, "Well, why didn't he come off?" and all the rest of it. I wouldn't have brought Bellingham off. No, not a bloody chance in hell. I think he's a top quality player. I really do. It was no surprise to all the stats afterwards. He had the most tackles. He had pretty much the most everything. He was the dominant midfielder. I thought Rice played well, by the way. The more the game grew, I thought Rice, really sort of stretched his legs and really grew into the game as well on that one, may I say. Mainu, I thought, had a good game, by the way. It's not no reflection on Mainu. This is a reflection on trying to get Harry Kane firing, and this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to play Saka on the right. I'm going to play Gordon on the left. Not in the. I like Palmer. I think Palmer's a good player, but I've just had enough. What Palmer doesn't have is outright pace. I'm sort of sick of wingers, particularly on that left-hand side, who can't do it, be it Foden starting over there or he does wing-backs or whatever the case, it's Trippier as a wing-back. I want someone to basically stand up the full-back and drive past them. Either go on a strong foot, weaker foot, whatever. Have them guessing. Are you going to go wide? Are you going to cut inside? Gordon's going to give that. I want proper wingers. Obviously, Saka, tremendous, absolutely tremendous. What can you say? Actually, I'll tell you what I can say. What a tremendous goal, but he's got some balls on him, that boy. To do that, to take that penalty after what had happened before, and not just that. He was smile. He was happy. There's no arrogance with it. You don't feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder because there's other people and I actually found out Bellingham might be one of them who've not reacted well to criticism, particularly.
Well, to be fair, when Saka scored, after he scored, as part of his celebration, he started doing the whole, which I think was directed at the likes of Ian Wright for saying putting him.
I think it was, but also it was done with a bit of fun. It was done with a smile on his face, and he did all that to the fans. He was happy. I just thought I just think he's a tremendous character, actually. I think he's incredible. I think he's one of the most likable footballers I've ever heard interviewed. And I think you look at the character that boy has is just immense. So a proper hero of that win, and he deserved it, and it's redemption. It's nice. It's nice to see him. People compared it to the Stuart Pearce moment. It was, and it is, and it's just really nice to see. I'm going to play Kane behind Ollie Watkins. Basically, I want Kane can play as a number 10. It's not working out for him as a striker. I know he scored a goal, so I'm going to have. But it will be a 4-4-1-1 here. So I'm going to have him getting quite close to it, but he'll also make up the number in midfield. He's been dropping deep anyway. We might as well make it part of his job. He's not stretching any defence. So, yeah, that's what I'm going for, to basically go for. That's my team for Netherlands.
I would, if I was an England fan, which I am not, however, if I was, this is what I think England should do. I agree with Pickford and goal. I agree with back 4. Shaw, left back, has to be Shaw. I would revert back to Gay and Stones. Gay's shirt wasn't up for grabs. Sorry, Consa. He played well, but he was suspended due to stupid passes from Kieran Trippier and Declan Rice. It wasn't his own fault. However, I would play Consa right back. I would drop Walker for this one. I don't think he's had a great tournament. I think he's been good in spells, but I also think he's been a bit of a liability for you. And if he didn't have pace, he'd be a serious problem for England. There's too many times I feel like the ball's been played in behind him and he's just been out of position by a few yards, but he's got that pace to get back and recover. Whereas I think if you had a slightly slower player, they'd get done and then battered by their lack of positioning, the lack of awareness where their opponent is. I don't think he's had a great tournament, Walker. So I put Konsa in there because A, he's played there regularly for Aston Villa, and B, he'd be then up against Gakpo, who I think is one of the Netherlands' two threats. I think he's got two big threats going into this game, and I think Gakpo's one of them. And I think Konsa up against him would do well. He would not eliminate it, but he'd be a better defender against him than what Trippier or Trent would, I think. Manu has to start next to Rice for me. I think he was one of your better players, actually. I think he's been one of your best players the last two games. I think he was absolutely fantastic in midfield, and I think really knows his role well, when to go forward and support, but when to just stick back a little bit and help out Declan. I think he's got that sort of balance of attack and defence really nailed down. I've been very impressed by him, actually. I agree with Saka. I agree with Bellingham, but I'd have him in the number 10 role. On the left, it's a bit up for grabs. I'm okay dropping Foden. I thought he had his better game of the tournament more centrally against Switzerland. But the big thing for me is that Switzerland played three at the back, which allowed England to play three at the back.
Yeah.
And the left winger, and it was, I say Bellingham was to the left. He was quite infield a little bit, but his direct opponent was Schär. Not the case against the Netherlands. Whoever's on that side is going to have Dumfries bombing forward all the time. So whoever's got that role out there is going to have to get back and help out Shaw, assuming it's him there. Or you could find yourself in trouble a little bit. Dumfries is the other threat, as far as I'm concerned. So I think Gordon would be the one I'd look to. I'd be okay with Eze out there as well. I think he's done okay when coming on in his cameo appearances. A bit difficult because whenever he's come on, you've almost scored pretty quickly. So his role becomes a defensive one almost immediately. So what he can do is in the final third, but he's not really had a chance to show it because, well, against Switzerland, he was playing left wing back. It's not his gig. But I felt a bit sorry for him because he was there and Cole Palmer was ahead of him on the left side, getting to run at defenders and stuff. And he might be like, hang on a minute, I want to be doing this, but here I am. Up front, Ollie Watkins. I agree with you. Kane's had long enough. I think Van Dijk has had a wobbly tournament, and he's had a wobbly tournament against defenders that like to run the channels and get out wide. Yilmaz caused him all sorts of bother for Turkey because he kept dragging Van Dijk 10, 15 yards out the middle, and he didn't like it. Van Dijk was not comfortable with it. Whereas I think if you've got someone like Kane who just backs into Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk will be okay with that battle. So you want a physical battle, that's fine. Bring it on, let's go. But if you put someone with a little bit of pace up against him, that'll stretch the pitch. And I think you might see that sort of uncomfortable, wobbly Van Dijk again. And so Watkins up front for me. So that's what I would do if I was an England fan. Anyway, we're going to now point in the direction of our sponsors, Match Bingo, combining bingo with football. And quickly, just want to say congratulations to a couple of people who have won. We're not going to go through them all, but in particular, Peter Morris. In the previous England game, when they beat Switzerland all on penalties, Peter Morris got the full house and scooped over £200 as a prize. I mean, that's just fantastic. So congratulations, Peter. Hopefully you've enjoyed the winnings sensibly and done something a little bit of fun with your winnings. But Match Bingo, you can download the app, which is free to download via the link in the description below. You can sign up as well. It is a gambling app, so please do gamble responsibly. And you obviously have to be 18 plus and over. UK residents only to use the Match Bingo app. But it just adds a little bit of something to your game. You need 15 things you need to happen in the match while you're watching it. It updates the app for you, so don't worry. You don't need to go on and click that there's been a throw-in for the Netherlands, for example. Match Bingo do all the updates for you. So you can just get your card, leave it, and then hopefully it wins some money. But at the same time, while you're checking it as you go, you can see what you need to happen. I was one away from the full house in the Netherlands game. I needed a left-footed goal scored. That was the only thing that I missed out on, which was a little bit annoying, a bit frustrating, but it happens, I guess. So get downloaded, get involved, and have a little bit of fun, and hopefully be a bit like Peter, and luck is on your side. Gonzo, the Netherlands, your opponents. What's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I really enjoyed. As I mentioned it in what did we do? That was a quarterfinal preview, wasn't it? Xavi Simons is my kind of footballer. Quite frankly, I watch him play all day. Really do. Really like that guy playing football, and the more I watch. I mean, Gakpo's been impressive. It feels like he's grown as well. I know he hasn't, but he's a big old powerful lump, isn't he? Really fast. He's got everything really. Looked really great. Little high praise indeed, but maybe little shades of Thierry Henry the way he's sort of coming off that side really a little bit. Very good.
Pardon? He's what?
The way he's cutting infield to high effects. I didn't even realise I said it. That's me as bad. Oh damn! I normally avoid that type of stuff. But anyway. His manager was bringing him off.
Out now, isn't it?
I know. Hopefully his manager won't be bringing him off too early. But anyway, sorry, pulling him off. Anyway, you don't need any more of this carry-on stuff, do you? You flustered me there. Also, I like Memphis Depay, right? Let's talk about him. West Ham been linked with this player, well, for many times now, and he looks good. I've got to say, he looks really good. He's I don't know how much of there was a lot of bad publicity surrounding this player for quite some time, and could he behave himself? He was a bit of a naughty boy, and I don't know if he's put that stuff behind him. I really don't, but there's an effective footballer there. There's a really good footballer, and again, he seems to be physically more robust than he used to be as well. He can shake off a challenge. There's no doubt about it. So I really like what I've seen from him as well. But they got plenty of good players, and obviously. Unfortunately, they call him De Vrij. They call him De Vrij, but they used to call him De Vrij, right? Which would be the refrigerator. But we can't call him that now because they call him De Vrij, or something like that. Good player, by the way, and certainly overshadowed as you mentioned. Van Dijk there. I mean, I don't know what they've actually got some good centre backs. Actually, Holland, they really do. Some that can't even make it into the team actually as well. So. Yeah, I mean, I've not seen loads of them. Obviously, my eyes was on them for the Turkey game. They made me a little bit nervous, actually, because I thought Turkey were a really competent team. And it worried me that England won't be able to have the level of control of the football that Turkey had to be able to cause Netherlands as much bother as they did. But, yeah, I mean, very impressive. Great support as well. Orange football kit, what's not to like?
They've stepped up the last couple of games. I thought the group stage, I used the term flaky to describe them, and I still think it was a good word to represent what the Dutch were about in the group stages of the Euros so far. I wasn't that impressed by them. I thought there was a few big names in the squad, but I didn't really feel like they were a team. And I almost felt like Koeman didn't really know his best 11. I still think that is the case, actually, because I'm not convinced Bergwijn is in their best 11. And it's not Malin either. They don't really have someone for that right side of the attack. And I wonder what he's going to do. I don't know if he'll maybe mix it up a little bit and just put Simmons out there and he'll push Reinders forward a little bit and bring somebody else into centre midfield. So he's almost got 3 centre midfielders against England. I don't know if he'll do that. But I thought they were really good against Romania. And they were very sort of hot and cold throughout the 90 minutes against Turkey. However, I was very impressed that they were able to come when Turkey scored. Oh, here we go. This is it. Yeah. They're going to go through. I just didn't really think the Dutch had that sort of spine to them to come back in such a big game and get the win, but they did, and I was impressed by it as well, actually. And there's a little bit of good fortune with sort of Gakpo's own goal, if that makes sense. But the one that Gakpo was involved in, which was turned into his own net, there was a little bit of good fortune in there. And the keeper, what's his name, Verbruggen, the Brighton goalkeeper, fantastic save, incredible save right at the death as well. So there was a little bit of luck, but you know what? England have had a bit of luck. France have had a lot of luck. Spain are probably the only team that's in the semi-finals that haven't needed something to bail them out to some extent. I think individually, Van Dijk's looked a bit shaky. I think Ake's looked reliable as always at left back. Reinders has impressed me a lot. You mentioned him as well in a previous video. He's the one that, because I know Depay, I know Simmons, I know Gakpo, Ake, Van Dijk. There's not much surprise elements to this Dutch team. So when Reinders popped up, a player I hadn't really seen before, oh, here we go. And I quite liked his performances. I think Dumfries has been absolutely fantastic down that right-hand side. It'll be interesting to see how Southgate accommodates him, because he's almost going to be a direct opponent for Luke Shaw more than anybody else, which presents an opportunity for the left side of England's attack to take advantage of that vacant space occupied. But I do think Koeman's got a bit of an issue with that right-sided attacker, because Bergwijn's not been good, nor has Malin. So what's he going to do? Who's he going to put out there? Does he move Depay out there and bring Weghorst in? Does he bring in Xerxes ahead of his move to Man United? Does he get a wild card shout against England? I'm not so sure he's going to do anything bold in the semi-finals of the Euros. So I think it might be Bergwijn. I've just not been impressed by him at all this tournament. Anyway, how do you see the game going on Wednesday?
Honestly, anything could happen, and I don't normally say that on these previews. Nothing would surprise me in this one. It would, and I mean that. It would not surprise me to see the Netherlands go 2 goals up really early, and the game sort of disappear from England. England winning, England beating them would not surprise me either, nor would penalties. I mean, I don't know if that will be reflected in the bookies' odds, but I see there's nothing in it. I don't think there's anything in this game at all, and it would be it would be brilliant. I'd love England to win the tournament, but on the way there, I think it'd be highly amusing if Gareth Southgate sort of trips and stumbles, his way into that. And what I mean by that is he's started to make a few changes, and he's shown the capacity to substitute possibly some big name players. Harry Kane would be a great case in point. But I still look at Southgate as someone that's playing with his food. He's sort of spooning it around the plate rather than devouring it. And I think, I'm not sure he's quite got it in him to make those bold changes quite as early as need be. And I think in the last 2 games, he's got away with it. He's got away with leaving those decisions late. I think if he does so again, England go out. I think you run out of opportunities where you can make late substitutions and change the game. You can make substitutions any game and change the game, but by and large, the earlier you do them, the more chance you give yourself of altering the course of the proceedings. It's really tough, Gio. It's really, really, really tough. I keep thinking of their midfield. Keep thinking about Reinders, keep mind of Simmons. I think there's a nice blend there. But Declan Rice, a hell of a footballer, by the way, hell of a footballer, and I can't help but think if he has got some part to play in the storyline here, actually. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. I suspect England might edge it, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, while you think of your score prediction, then I think you go through. I think England win. I've just stopped being, whilst I've not been that impressed by England, I've not been that impressed by the Netherlands either. And even in the game against Turkey, a goal in it, a decent amount of time on the clock, and you think, right, let's just see some game management, I guess. Let's just see this out. And they couldn't do it. It was chaos. It was almost like, in the end, Turkey were probably thinking, how are we not equalised here? How have we not got an equaliser? Because the Dutch just kept on conceding chances, and there was opportunities for them to counter-attack, and they were making the wrong decisions when counter-attacking to seal the win and make it 3-1. And I just thought, this is stuff that you will get punished by better countries. I think England are in that category of a better country. When the Turkish were attacking them, 3-on-3 or whatever, and they were just lacking that little bit of composure or quality. And I thought, well, Saka and Bellingham do have that element to the game that Turkey were perhaps lacking, that was vital to getting over the line. And I was watching the Netherlands, just thinking, I think you'll be okay. I actually think Turkey would cause you more problems than the Netherlands. I was watching that, thinking, I think you might struggle against Turkey. Well organised, quite ready for a physical battle, etc., etc. But the Netherlands, I don't know. They just don't carry that fear factor for me. I just don't. They don't have it. I was been more impressed by Switzerland this tournament than the Dutch for the large majority of the games. I think you'll win, And when I say comfortably, not necessarily scoreline. I don't think you're going to whoop them or anything, because you don't get them in the Euros unless Germany are playing Scotland. But because the games are low scoring, they're boring now. The games have got boring. There's not many exciting games anymore. It's got boring. So, but I think you'll win comfortably in the sense that I don't think Pickford will have loads to do. And I don't think Southgate will have to make his last-minute changes for this one. And I agree with what you're saying about the subs, because he's definitely got his untouchables. And the case in point was when they put Jude Bellingham's number up by mistake to sub him. That guy didn't flinch. He stood on the pitch. He stood on the pitch looking over, going, "I'm not coming off. That's a mistake." He knew he wasn't coming off. He knew there was a mistake with that scoreboard. He stood there thinking, "It's not me. Fix it."
It's true.
That's a guy that knew he does not get subbed off. And you've got to have, you know that because of some reason. It might be your man just told you. You've just got the cojones to go on. Then I do it to take me off, because if you lose, this one's on you. Whatever it was, he was not moving. I think you win, Gonzo, and I think you win 2-0.
Well, I will. I mean, that's interesting. I'll tell you this much. I don't know about the score, but I will tell you this much. I think if we win, it's got to be a normal time. I think if we leave it late again, I think extra time catches up with us. And I mean the extra time from the previous game. I think it just all catches up with us. There's a lot of England players that look tired. Bellingham was one of them. Bellingham looked tired, but
Rice looked tired in extra time. He was chasing the ball back at one point. It wasn't like a danger ball or anything. He was just running after it. But his face was a bit like wincy. You could see him was just struggling a little bit in extra time just to go 5 yards and get the ball. I
mean, he's had a long season. He's obviously had a big, first. He's just joined Arsenal, obviously had a big intensive title race there. He played in Europe for Arsenal, obviously not for as long as he played in Europe in the previous season with West Ham, but he's had a lot of games. He is going to be tired. He's not had much of a break. They did look tired. And you can't take Bellingham off. You can't take the guy that scored the scissor kick in the last one. You just can't do it. And as I say, you look at the stats, you look at the tackles he's putting in, but he did look knackered. It was absolutely knackered. Harry Kane's so knackered, people are asking whether he's injured or not. So I think it's got to be normal time, and I wouldn't be surprised if he needs to make a little change or two anyway, just to keep it fresh. Extra time, the Dutch will have us. I'm pretty sure about that. But I will take England to edge it in 94 minutes or whatever it might be.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much for joining us on this preview. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on it. Subscribe to Damage Chat myself and Gonzo. We'll catch you in a bit.